look at that thing move out. Outstanding performance. The XR7. One of the hottest bikes that ever came off a drawing board. And I helped develop it. Now all I gotta do is run it by the guys at the company, and we're on our way. Tomorrow's the big meeting. It's gonna be a cinch. Look, it's getting late, and obviously we're not getting anywhere, so I think we should adjourn for now, and maybe we ought to...
What a waste of time.
Come on, let's go. I got better things to do than this.
You know, the last time I ate at Luigi's, I got...
The XR7, what a joke. At least she's pretty.
Oh, that was a good meeting, Lisa. That was a real good meeting.
Lisa, do you mind telling me what the hell's going on?
What are you talking about?
The XR7, everybody's down on it.
Jess, I'm sorry. We had our big meeting, and nobody could agree on anything.
Look, we both know the XR7's hot. I've seen the specs. There's no reason on earth you couldn't have pushed it through.
Hold on, Jess. You don't seem to understand. These guys are so out of tune with the times that they wouldn't recognize a good idea if it came with a formal introduction.
I don't buy that, Lisa. Tell me what happened.
Well, where do you want me to begin?
Try the beginning.
Okay, but this isn't going to be very pretty.
Well, I had a friend of mine that ran one. It was sort of...
Sorry I'm late. I had to get some copies. As you're aware, I've been in charge of developing a prototype motorcycle referred to as the XR7. Yesterday, we completed 6 months of trial testing with highly successful results. The bike is light, responsive, aimed directly at the competition, and with your support, we can have the XR7 ready for market introduction by late May.
Late May? Don't you think that's rushing things a bit, Lisa? I mean, what does anyone really know about this XR7 anyway?
I see no problem with a late May introduction.
It's just too soon.
Too soon? The XR7 is long overdue. It's designed for today's market.
Hold it. You already lost it.
I did?
Lisa, meetings serve a variety of purposes. They're used to disseminate information, to receive information. They can be used for training and educating. One of the most important meetings is the one used to gain support for a new idea or program. That meeting can be a unifying force in an organization, creating a common bond and a sense of direction. But what happens all too often is that they become destructive forces. Instead of unifying, they divide and antagonize. And of course, the person most responsible for setting the tone of a meeting
Was me.
And Lisa, you've got one strike against you already. You come in here, a young hotshot MBA, with this new idea that's going to save the company. How do you think the other people are going to take that?
Was there something wrong with having good ideas?
A good idea isn't enough. You've got to learn how to present it. Look, you remember the first time you showed me the prototype?
Yeah, you were skeptical.
You bet I was. We hadn't done anything like that before. Sure, the bike looked good. It was everything you said it was. But I still wasn't convinced. I went over your research reports and market studies almost as much as you did. And gradually, over a period of time, you won me over. Lisa, every one of those people in that meeting is important to the success of the XR7. You got to win them over just like you did me.
And I didn't.
You didn't even try. And you've done the research. I've seen it. You should have given them a chance to see it.
But it takes hours to go through that stuff.
Lisa, the most important part of a meeting is the preparation. You could have sent them your report for their review before the meeting. They would not only have been more informed, they would have felt like they were part of the decision process. But you went in there thinking the meeting was a simple formality, that everyone would see the wisdom of your way and pat you on the back and say, "Good show, Lisa." Well, that's not the way it is. Lisa, a meeting is a management tool. And like any other tool, you've got to learn how to use it. And the sad fact is, you're not alone. Many managers don't know how to use meetings.
Okay, maybe I didn't prepare myself as well as I should have. But a meeting should be a two-way street, it seems to me.
What do you mean?
It was as if some of them were out to get me.
Lisa, can I ask you what your basis is for these sales projections? I mean, they look a little optimistic, if you ask me.
Optimistic? Well, let's see. As I recall, they're based on a 10% market share.
What about these production quotas? I'm not sure we can gear up to turn out that many.
Well, the production quotas seem reasonable
What about
to me.
the color? Yellow. Do we really want to come out with a yellow bike? I don't like yellow.
I wanted to...
You knew what some of the reservations would be before the meeting, didn't you?
Well, sure, I knew there'd be some concern.
But what did you do about it?
Well, what could I do? They were just looking for problems.
You could have talked to some of them before the meeting, given them a chance to express their views, found out what was bothering them, and so you could have dealt with it later. You should have anticipated. You should have sat down before the meeting and asked yourself what could possibly go wrong. What problems are they apt to bring up? Look for the worst and be prepared for it.
I can see that now. But how do you prepare yourself for someone like Stan? He found fault with everything.
It looks risky to me, Lisa. I mean, this XR7 is going to cost a lot of money. I think we should just stay where we are until the economy picks up.
I think we could keep our cost per unit down to a manageable level.
Still, it's an awfully big gamble.
Well, what if we were to limit our introduction to a test market, say in 5 western states?
What would 5 states tell you? I've never put any faith in test markets anyway. The entire idea looks awfully shaky to me.
Stan, this company needs a shot in the arm, and I think the XR...
Lisa, you haven't been in this business long enough to know what to think.
But the worst disappointment of all was Carl. I thought I could count on Carl. I thought he'd support me.
No, I say stay right where we are. There's no sense in sticking our necks out. Take it slow and...
He just sat there,
Rush into
like a
something
bump on a
bound to get
log.
I
Wouldn't
remember
say a
10 years
thing.
ago, somebody had this great
He just sat there and let me die.
So we tried it out.
Lisa, a meeting is something like a chess match. If you want to control the game, you have to know how to use the pieces. First, let's take Stan. You find guys like Stan in all meetings. They're complainers, compulsive. They'll never agree with you.
So what do you do?
A diversionary tactic would have worked. You might have tried something like this.
This company's been through a lot of rough times before. We'll bounce back. We always have. I say don't panic. The XR7 is just too big of a gamble.
First, agree with them.
You may have a point, Stan.
They'll never expect that.
The XR7
And it'll
is a
take the
gamble.
fight right out of them.
And it'll tie up a lot of money. Maybe we ought to put it on the shelf for a while.
And then direct the issue to another member in the meeting, someone who supports your view.
Not Carl. The man is spineless.
There are a lot of people like Carl. They're afraid to speak out on their own in meetings, especially if they have an opposing view. It's a lot easier to just sit there. But you could have helped Carl along simply by calling on him, and he probably would have delivered.
Maybe this isn't the right time for us to get into a new market. Carl, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think the XR7 has a lot going for it. And we can't wait forever for the economy to turn around. I mean, let's face it, our current product line just isn't what it should be. Heck, I think this XR7 is exactly what this company needs.
So, you help control the meeting by using the people to your advantage.
Exactly. You know, there's always going to be two sides to every issue. It's your responsibility as leader to make sure that each side gets equal time. You don't have to defend every issue yourself. Learn to use the other people. So what happened next?
Absolute chaos.
And what about advertising, Lisa? You're talking a major campaign here. How do you expect our agency to be ready?
I considered that.
You know, speaking of our agency, they've really been dropping the ball lately.
You know, I've been having problems with them, too.
Well, maybe we should be looking at a new agency.
Say, there's this hot new outfit in town. Fitzsimmons, Murphy, and Klein, I think.
No, I think it's just Fitzsimmons and Klein. Murphy left and formed his own company. Or was it Klein who left?
No, I know Bob Klein. He didn't leave.
I wanted to yell at them, but I knew it wouldn't do any good.
What about your agenda?
Agenda? Jess, you know me. I've never been one for formalities.
How did you feel when the meeting started to break down?
Like I was losing control.
The agenda is one way to keep yourself in control. There are a number of things an agenda should have. The objective of a meeting, the people attending, the length of time, usually an hour and a half. When it goes longer than that, the people tend to tune out. And most important, the schedule, the areas to be discussed and the amount of time you want to spend in each area. What's good about the agenda is that when you begin to lose control in a meeting, and it happens to everyone, the agenda is right there in front of you, to put you right back in charge. It's one of the easiest ways to avoid time-consuming distraction.
Oh, yeah? Well, I haven't told you yet about Bob and Harry. Talk about distractions. They had their own conversation going on the entire meeting. Especially if we keep losing sales the way we have been, it may get to be too late. They were just plain rude. How do you deal with that?
As the leader, you're in a tough spot. You don't want to be a dictator. No one likes that. But you don't want to go out of your way to embarrass or alienate people. But you have to be firm. It's your job to control the meeting. What I would have done first would have been to direct a question
We
at one of
have
them.
been. It may get to be too late. Say, Bob, we haven't heard much from you. What are your feelings about the May introduction?
The May introduction. Well, let's take a look at these. May, right?
Put them on the spot once, and that's usually enough. If they continue, then tell them as politely as possible that they're being distracted. It's your responsibility to the rest of the people.
Let's see if I've got all this. Prepare yourself thoroughly by doing all the necessary homework.
And send information to the people ahead of time.
Anticipate criticism and be prepared to deal with it. Control the meeting by using people to your advantage. And avoid distractions by using an agenda.
One final thing, and the most important. End the meeting on a positive note with a sense of accomplishment.
But how can you do that if you haven't resolved anything?
Few things are ever resolved in a meeting, but some sort of progress is invariably made.
So you summarize that progress.
Mm-hmm.
Making note of the accomplishments and the work that still needs to be done.
That way people won't feel their time is being wasted in another meeting. Meetings have a bad enough name as it is.
They do, huh? Well, not my next one.
Strange place for a meeting.
This better be good.
Is anybody around? Holy. So that's the XR7.
No idea it could do that.
Hey, it's Lisa. Yeah, son of a gun.
Not bad, Lisa.
One more thing about meetings, Jeff.
What's that?
You gotta keep their attention.
You know, I've always liked the yellow.